first off, I wanted to let everyone know, we've been watching the hurricane activity. The Floridas and the Carolinas all got hit pretty good last week with Hurricane Ian. So ADA has set up some support networks. They're working really closely with the Florida Dental Association as well as South Carolina, North Carolina to help support dentists and their team members. So if you happen to be watching tonight and you haven't reached out for those resources, certainly do that. Please post within our group as well and let us know if we can be of service. We'd be happy to do so. But if you are inclined to want to help out our fellow colleagues, reaching out to the ADA to get connected with different dental organizations that are deploying support throughout those areas, we can certainly get you connected pretty quickly. So just utilize the ADA for that. But again, our hearts are with everyone. And we were certainly watching it very closely. Hopefully that'll be it for 2022. One of the stories that Chad sent me this week was this really interesting story about a dental student who was commuting into the city of New York. I think, forgive my geography or lack of in that area. But he was on one of the highways there when a car kind of swerved past him, was driving a bit erratic. He decided to try to pass the traffic in the side lane. I think it was on the left side, because ultimately he hit the guardrail and went into a fiery crash. He flew out of the car. And so the dental student stopped to provide aid, to call 911. The man who fell out of the car, was launched out of the car, was responsive, but a little bit incoherent. He went to the car. When he was on the phone with 911, they asked if there were any other passengers. He didn't see any at first, but when he looked closer amongst kind of the smoke and fire, he saw there was a female in the car. So he helped pull her out of the car as well. They started walking down the highway. He said they got about 20 feet or so away, and the car exploded and started going through different fire experiments. So kudos to that young man who helped save both a man and woman in a pretty bad car accident on the highway. He stayed calm, cool, and collected, and actually, by the grace of many, was able to all three walk away, I think, relatively unscathed. So that's amazing. Love to see our fellow colleagues out there putting their desire to want to help others in action, even outside of the operatory. If you are an ADA member and you want to express any comments related to the House of Delegates, which is coming up in October, you have until 5 p.m. on October 10th to submit your comments on any of the resolutions for the reference committee's review. So if you are non-House of Delegates member for this year, but you want to read the resolutions and provide comment, you certainly can as a member at large, but your deadline will be October 10th at 5 p.m. And as I mentioned last week, I personally am closely watching the amalgam resolution that's being brought forth to the ADA this year. This was something that the Dental Practice Council was also working on for the AGD last year. So we're attentive in watching that particular resolution to see what the delegates of the ADA feel about that particular topic. I was notified today of a very interesting website, and I wanted to share that with my fellow colleagues, because maybe you already knew that it existed. I certainly didn't. And I have to give credit to one of our fellow dinks, Kim Robinson, who has worked in the dental industry for an incredibly long time and now works with the dental insurance company, and has become a great resource for me in helping me understand better dental benefits sector. But she notified me today of a website called fairhealthconsumer.org. This is a website that you can go to, plug in a CDT code, and get a marketable rate for that service in your community. So many of you ask, how do I know if my fees are competitive or not? You can always go to your dental supply companies. I know I've gone to Patterson before and asked for a fee schedule for my zip code. They will provide you that, but you can also go to fairhealthconsumer.org, plug in the code of interest to you, and find out what a reasonable rate might be in your particular area. In fairness, I did this with one code, became incredibly depressed, and left the website immediately because I'm obviously not charging enough. The last thing I wanted to let everybody know about was there were 3 cases this week that were settled with the Office of Civil Rights for HIPAA violations. And we don't talk about this a ton, but I think it's really important for everybody to understand. These three particular cases were settled because of a lack of responsiveness in medical records release. That means you have 30 days when a patient asks for their record, either in part or in full, you are obligated to give that to the patient. That is their personal property, and you have 30 days to provide that to them. If you don't, they have every right and all the grounds to go forward and file a complaint with the Office of Civil Rights Compliance. So please know that of all the things that we could get dinged for HIPAA violations, accidentally sharing information via an insecure email, our computers getting stolen, getting hacked, malware getting installed on our servers, all the things that are really difficult for us to control. The one thing that we can control is release of medical records in a timely fashion. And just so you know, these cases were settled between $25,000 and $80,000 for the settlement on those HIPAA violations. So that's easy money that we have to give away. So that's my PSA for today. You have 30 days to release those records to the patient, and they are patient records. And with that, that's the news.